welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome. Guys, today we're going to be working with sewing and some embroidering. I'm going to show you this cute bag and you can use it for whatever you want to use it. I'm going to use it for a storage traveling bag because I plan to do a couple of travels in the near future and I need something to get organized, to bring my stuff. So this is a sample of one of them. And this one I personalize. So I'm going to show you how to sew it and also how to personalize it, okay, using your embroidery machine. So guys, I can't wait to start. So let's go at it. So let's get started with this project. The things that we're going to be using are scissors, fabric scissors, zipper. This is a 12 inch. I'm going to adjust it to the size of the vinyl bag. Fabric. This is cotton fabric. You can use any cotton blend, any kind of fabric, denim, except for any polyester stretchy fabric. It needs to be something that is going to hold. Straight pins or the Wonder clips, whatever you prefer to use. A friction pen or anything that you can use to mark your fabric. You can also use tailor shock. We're going to be doing some markings on the fabric. I'm going to be using binding. This is a 1/2 inch binding. You can do your own or you can purchase yours. This happened to be from, I believe it's Amazon, but you can go to Walmart, any kind of fabric store or any place that, have these things. Also, I'm going to be using clear vinyl. This vinyl was difficult for me to find. I found it at Amazon, but I really had to search for it. I'm going to link it down below in case you're interested. And a piece of printing paper. This is going to be our template to cut the fabric, okay? So this is everything for now. Of course, a ruler. Okay, a ruler is important for measurement and also to help us cut our fabric. If you don't want to use scissors, you can use also rotary cutter right here. Probably I'm gonna be using this. I don't know why I picked the scissors. Oh yeah, because I might use it for the zipper. But for the most part, I'm gonna be using my rotary cutter. It could be any size, it doesn't really matter. Of course, I forgot the most important thing is the Singer Quantum Stylist 9960, my Singer sewing machine, okay? Guys, so I'm gonna clear this up and we're gonna start with this project. See you in a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna get started and the first thing you're gonna need is printing paper, like I told you before, 2 pieces, okay? That's all you need. You don't need to buy any pattern or download anything, all right? So you're gonna get your circle. Like I said, you can use a bowl or anything that is round to do the corner. And you're gonna do it from corner to corner, all right? You're just gonna trace it, all right? And then once you do that, you're gonna fold your paper in half. And you're gonna either cut it by scissors or you can use your rotary cutter. I'm gonna use it, but if you have scissors, paper scissors, don't use your good scissors for this because this is paper. And you're just gonna cut it around. Okay. And now you have this, okay? Now, once you have this, you have to decide how tall you want the bag. That is your choosing. I chose to do it about 1 inch. You can make a mark or you can eyeball it. What I did, instead of marking it, what I did was that I eyeballed the height and I start folding it until I got the correct one, and I decided that I prefer to have the 1 inch. Let me see if I can find the one that I did prior to it. So this is a template that I prepared. You see that I did 1 inch of the folding, and from here to here for me was 7.5 inches. But you're gonna decide how high you want it. You can leave it like that, that's okay. The good thing about this thing is that you can make it as tall as you want, and you can make it even wider if you have a tracing paper. You can cut it wider because, you know, the widest you can do on this paper is 11 inches, but if you want it even bigger, you can make it bigger. In my case, like I said, I decided to do about 1 inch, and I fold it down. Okay? And I created this. It's kind of crooked, but you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. All right? And I ended up with this. Okay? 1 inch to 7.5 inches in height in my case. Okay? Now, for the other paper, what we're going to do is what we're going to cut the border of the bag, which is made out of fabric. Of course, it's going to be 11 inches wide because this is 11 inches wide. You're not going to do anything to this part of the template. It's going to be 6.5 in my case, depending on how tall you want your fabric to be and how tall you're going to cut up your vinyl. You're going to see what I mean when we get to the next step. We're going to get to that. I already cut my fabric right here using this template. I cut it like this, all right? So what we're going to do next is that I need to fold this right here, and I measure about 1/4 inch. Okay, it's about 1/4 inch. We're going to do that part. I'm going to go ahead and bring my iron because we're going to iron it, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do it. So in review, the first thing you're going to do, get a piece of paper, trace the corner, cut it around, fold this part depending on how tall you want the bag to be. If you notice the one that I showed you, which was the sample, first one that I did, let me get it for you guys. This was the sample that I showed you earlier in the beginning of the video. This is this height of fabric, okay? And this is how much it covered, all right? So to me, this is okay. This is a perfect width for this size of bag, but it's up to you, like I said, okay? So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna follow by getting the fabric prep, all right? I'm gonna get rid of the things that I don't need here. Let's prep the fabric, and after I prep the fabric, I'm gonna go ahead and gonna cut the vinyl using my vinyl template, all right? Okay, guys, so the first thing that I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna measure about 1/4 inch on each side, because this is gonna go folded like this. And you can either do it eyeballing it. Some people know exactly if you are so, you know that this is 1/4 inch. Okay, but you know, I'm gonna measure for those who are starting sewing. So I'm gonna get my ruler and I'm going to do 1/4 inch right here. I need my eyeglasses. Let me put my eyeglasses right here. Okay. So this is 1/4 inch right here. And this is the friction pen that I showed you earlier. You can use any tailor chalk or anything that you use usually to mark your fabric. This will erase once I heat it up. It's gonna disappear. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, and then I'm gonna fold it. If it's easier for you to do it on the good size of the fabric or the pretty size, that might be even better. I've done a lot of this, so I more or less know where to fold. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and press it down with my nails just to mark it in place. And then I'm gonna iron it, okay? So, yes. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna iron it. Let me fix this here. Okay, this time I'm gonna do it on the other side to make it easier. And that way you can see where exactly you're gonna fold. Okay. Now I'm following the mark and I'm folding. That way, yeah, it's easier. Okay, so this part is done. And what I'm gonna do right now is the next part, which is preparing the template for the vinyl. So I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna repeat this later off camera, okay? Because I just want to show you how to do the parts, okay? So I'll do this off camera because you know how to do it already, okay? I'm gonna turn this around again so that you can have a better view. This is the roll of vinyl that I ordered from Amazon. I'm gonna link this below. If you can find this any other place, that would be perfect. I was not able to find it. I barely found it at Amazon because I kept putting vinyl and it would not show me this. I kept putting clear vinyl until I finally got it. Yeah, so it's very pliable and it's easy for sewing. Try not to get something that is too thick because you're gonna have a hard time with your sewing machine unless you have an industrial machine. And I do not have an industrial machine, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to trim this fabric off. They use this so that this plastic don't stick. I don't need this anymore, all right? And you're gonna go ahead, you're gonna place your template, the one that we did, and you're gonna trace it. Everything here is about tracing, okay? You're gonna trace it, and the one thing that you need to do, once you trace it, you can either use a rotary cutter or scissors. Scissors are your bad scissors. Don't use your sewing scissors for this, your fabric scissors, because you're gonna ruin it. This, I use it for anything other than fabric, okay? And this cutter, I use it for paper and everything that is not fabric, all right? So you're gonna go ahead, you're gonna use your trace. This is a thin marker, and I'm gonna start tracing here. Okay, guys, so I am done. And once you're finished doing this, okay, And you notice that there's a little bit of discrepancy on the shape. Don't worry about it, because the most important things is that you have the right width. This is pretty much down. Okay, but if you notice that you are off a little bit, don't worry, because at the end of the project, you're going to have a chance before you place the binding to trim it a little bit, and you can just match it. Okay, so don't worry, it doesn't have to be exactly on the line. All right, so pretty much this is good. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the next step, which is sewing this part to this. Okay, before I start sewing, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to iron this again, and then I'm going to finish the other side, the other fabric. Okay, and I'll meet you at the table once I'm done doing this. All right, guys, see you in a little bit. All right, guys, so I am back. Both of them I ironed and folded. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fold it in half and make sure that the ends meet. All right, you want everything to be nice and aligned together. All right, and then you're going to iron. Okay, I'm checking that it's all, pretty much aligned. And we're going to repeat the same thing for the next piece. I'm checking again. I noticed that it was a little bit not in place in here. Okay, so now that we've done this, I can turn this off. This part, we're going to be using our clips. Now, in the beginning, I mentioned clips or straight pins. I misspoke because I'm so used to do tutorial where I give the option of straight pins, because not everybody have the clips. The reason why you cannot use straight pins is because this is vinyl, clear vinyl. If you use straight pins, I mean, you can use them, but you're going to leave a hole, and the hole is going to be noticeable, and you take the risk of ripping the vinyl. So you cannot use, I would not suggest straight pins. So I'm just making that clarification. So we're going to take one, and we're going to place this folded part. We're going to take it inside and get rid of this because we don't need this right now. I'm placing it inside, okay, align to the line where we iron, the fold, okay? You're going to place it on the fold. And this is very important because you want to make sure that the vinyl is pretty much in there, okay? And if you notice, the ends are meeting. So you want to make sure that you're not going to see, for example, if I put it in the wrong place, you're going to see this fabric here and this down there. No, you want to make sure that it's aligned, and when you see, you're not going to see any fabric behind the vinyl, okay? And the reason why it was so important to make it align was because of this. So you want to make sure that you're pushing in, and you don't want any leftover fabric flapping around. You don't want this. You don't want this flap. You want the vinyl all the way up there, okay? And also you want to make sure that no vinyl is exceeding. It might be a little bit, you can trim it later on, but this is 11 and this is 11, so it should match. Once I'm sure that everything is in there and I can feel the vinyl up there, then you're gonna use clips, okay? I'm making sure that I don't feel any excess fabric up there. That's what I'm doing. Because it's easy to happen. Yeah, it happened to me on the first one. The first one that I did, I had to undo my sewing and reposition the vinyl. Okay? I don't have any excess here, so I'm gonna go ahead and put another clip in here. We're gonna be taking this to the sewing machine, and we're gonna do a straight line in here. Very close. It's gonna be 1/8 of an inch. I don't want 1/4 inch because you don't want this flapping up here either, okay? So it's about 1/8 of an inch up here, okay? I'm gonna repeat the same thing, and I'm gonna be checking that nothing shows on the back. That's also good to do. I noticed that this was not placed correctly, so everything is matching, no leftover. Perfect. Now I'm gonna do the next one. I'm gonna see you back once I'm done with this one, all right? Okay, guys, so this is done. So I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm gonna take you to the sewing machine and we're gonna make the straight stitching all the way down here, okay? I'm gonna move the camera around. I'll see you in a little bit, guys. Okay, guys, so we are here at the sewing machine and there's two things that I want to give you, like 2 tips. The first tip is to remind you that you are sewing with vinyl. So you need to sew at a slower pace when it comes to this part in here. Okay, we have 3 layers of fabric, 2 layers of fabric and 1 of vinyl. So you need to slow down. Just take your time. Don't go running, okay? This is another tip. I use the same color of bobbin that I'm using for the thread, okay? The reason why, because you're doing vinyl and whatever you do on this part is gonna really show on the vinyl on the other side when it comes to the binding, okay? So when we are placing the binding, I like to see the same color that I'm doing to the front on the back of the binding, but that is your choice, especially when you're doing a dark color binding. If you're doing a light color binding, then you can probably do the white thread color or color thread on the bobbin. This is just a tip. I use the same color of the thread that I'm using on the top, all right? That is a tip. But the most important one is to slow down when you're doing the sewing. And when it comes to the part that we're gonna do with the zipper, to remember to switch to a zipper foot, okay? To do that part. Because the default foot is gonna be too wide to do the zipper, all right? All the machines come with zipper foot, all right? So that is gonna be an easy thing. All right, let me see what else. I'm gonna be using this bumper. This came with my machine. I don't know if other sewing machine comes with. I have had 2 other sewing machines and I've never seen this before. This one brought this in. And this is gonna help you later on to do the thick parts. It will help you to go over the thickness of the fabric when we're doing the binding. Sometimes I need it, sometimes I don't. So I usually have it on hand. This is just optional. You don't have to have this. All you have to do is to remember to slow down your machine. That's all I'm saying, okay? Because we are working with this thick media, all right, which is the vinyl. All right, I think this is everything that I needed to tell you. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna add my label to this bag. I forgot to add the label to the other bags because, I don't know, I usually do that when I am doing my projects. I like putting my label on it. So I'm gonna do one side of this. I'm not gonna show the second one. I'm just gonna show you how to do this one. The second one, I'll do it off camera. The other thing is, I don't know if I'm gonna personalize this one because I love this fabric the way it is. I might personalize it, I might not. I haven't decided what to do yet, okay? So enough talking, guys, let's get started. So we're gonna place this here. Now, this is vinyl, right? So vinyl tend to stick, all right, to the surface of the sewing machine. So what I do is I use the same paper that I use to cut the fabric. I put it under here so that it will slide easy without sticking to the machine, because otherwise this will tend to stick. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But because I don't want to get off registration when I'm sewing, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna put this in here. And guys, make sure that you're not gonna sew on top of the paper. Guys, ask me how I know. That was terrible. But yeah, it happened to me. So all you need is a little bit so the vinyl doesn't stick to the machine. That's all, okay? So guys, let's get started. And this is like 1/8 of an inch. like I told you before, all right? This part, it goes a little bit smoother because, you know, I don't have too much bulk in this part, but it's just slow down your machine. And we are done with this part, okay? This is the way it's supposed to look, guys. All right? Okay, guys, so I'm gonna do the other one off camera and I'll bring you back when I'm ready to place the zipper. Okay, so I am gonna place the zipper. And I left about, let me see, this is the amount of zipper that I left because we're gonna trim it later on. Don't worry about it to do back and forth here because we're gonna be sewing on top of the zipper a couple of times during the process, all right? So you don't have to worry about going back and forth on this one. Just make sure that you have enough leftovers back here, depending on the length. That's why I suggest at least 16 inches long instead of the 12 that I have, but I make sure that I have enough leftover here and I will trim it later on, okay? So let's go. I'm gonna do this side and then I'm gonna do the other side of camera. If you are new to sewing and you don't know how to place the zipper, just let me know. I can do a tutorial on how to do zippers. It's simpler than you think. It's very simple. It is not complicated, guys, all right? So yeah. I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna move the hardware away from the needle and then I'm gonna continue, okay? And I'm done with this part. We're gonna repeat the same thing on the other side, okay? You see I have this left over in here. What I'm gonna do later on, I'm gonna place the zipper here at this point, and then I'm going to trim it in here to sewing, okay? That's what I'm gonna do. You'll see how I do it, but I'm not gonna do it yet because I'm gonna do the other side of the zipper, okay? Make sure when you do this part right here that they are at the same level, okay? You don't want this. You want this aligned with this one. That is very important, guys, all right? Make sure that it's aligned because otherwise the project is not gonna work. It's gonna be off, all right? So make sure that you are aligned here before you start. Okay, so let's get started. I'll see you when I'm done, okay? So guys, I'm done with the zipper. This is the way it looks. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim this. Before I trim it, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna place a stitch. I'm gonna stitch it across because I want to lock it here, and then I'm gonna trim this, all right? So I'm gonna lock this with my sewing machine. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to use my regular foot. So I'm gonna pull off the zipper foot and place back my regular foot. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim here. And on this one, go slow, all right? Go back. And then go again. Okay. And then you can cut this part up. We're gonna do it later on. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And I'm gonna lower the hardware. Okay. And I'm gonna do exactly the same thing. This one, because it's open like this, make sure you're gonna hold it. Okay. Go back. Then go back. And then trim. So now I'm going to move you to the working table so that we can trim this, and I'm going to show you what is the next step. So now that we have this right here, nice and neat, what we're going to do is we're going to trim this part right here. Okay, and this part right here. And then we're going to start putting this together. I'm just going to use my ruler right here to make sure that it's not going to go up there. You can use your scissors or you can use your rotary cutter. Okay. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Make sure you don't cut your stitches off, okay? Okay. It's not going anywhere. Let's have the stitching in there. And then we're gonna go this way. And it's not going anywhere, okay? Okay, so the next step for me to do is to fold it in half and put this together like this. Make sure that both sides are meeting right here, okay? You're gonna make sure that everything is aligned. And this is the part where you can trim off if you notice that there's some extra in here, because, you know, for the most part, it might not be perfect, and it's okay because you can go ahead and trim a little bit if you have any extra. That's what I do. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. You want to make sure that it's nice and meeting at the same point in here. You don't want it to be like this. You want it to be like this, okay? Okay, and this is the part you're gonna check to see if you need to trim any extra. I do have a little bit in here, just a tiny bit. This is important because when you're gonna be placing the bias tape, you want to be at the same length, okay? You don't want any extra. For this, you can either use your scissors or you can use your rotary cutter. Again, there's extra in here. I'm gonna go ahead and carefully trim, okay? Let me take this out of here. That's it. So now we are all even. So now the next thing that I'm gonna do, I'm checking again. It looks good. Okay, it's so good. It's a little bit the curve in here. Okay, so that's that. You see, just little bits. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna sew all the way around, all the way around, all the way around. The stitching for this one is gonna be 1/8 of an inch. Okay, the same thing, 1/8 of an inch, because you want it to be low enough so that when you put the binding, you don't see your stitchings. All right. We're gonna be starting from the middle all the way to the top. Okay, then you're gonna turn it around and you're gonna complete the other side. Okay, so you're gonna start in the middle, you're gonna sew your way in. All right, and then when you're done, you're gonna go back. Let me show you, and do the other side the same way, from the middle to the top. So it's gonna be like that. You're gonna start sewing in here, you're gonna turn it, and then you're gonna do the other side. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put my wonder clips all around. And that's why I was telling you, straight pins are not good for this, because it's gonna be very hard for you to undo it, and it's gonna leave a mark on the vinyl. Okay, I'm gonna meet you at the sewing machine. Okay guys, so we are here. We're gonna get started. Again, I'm gonna use the paper because I want to prevent for the vinyl to stick on the machine. So I'm gonna start anywhere in the middle, not particular place, just anywhere in the middle. And again, 1/8 of an inch, okay? There is no rush to do this. Take your time. I know your machine can go fast, like as well as this one. I know I can go fast, but I don't want to go fast. I want to make it the correct way. Turn around. Now, this part right here is the bumpy part. So make sure, let me cut this little threads in here. Yeah, right here. Okay, this is the part that is bumpy. So when you get here, you have to take it slow. Okay, guys? Remember, on this part, you're dealing with 3 layers of fabric. 1 vinyl and 2 regular fabric, okay? So take it slow, no rush, okay? Okay, we complete this part. No need to go back and forth because we're gonna go on top of it again when we place the binding, okay? All right, now we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do the other side. I don't need to show you how to do it because you saw me doing this one. So I'm not gonna go around. I'm gonna complete the other side and I'll see you at the end when I'm done, okay? Okay, so we are done with this part, and now is the final part of the project, guys. And that is to place the bias tape, all right? So for those who have never done this before, I'm gonna explain you how to do it. I'm gonna do one section, I'm gonna finish it off camera, and then we're gonna do the second section of the bias tape, all right? This is a double fold bias tape, as 1/2 inch double fold bias tape. If you are a sewer and you do your own bias tape, you can go ahead and use yours the one that you make, because these are very easy to make home. But I wanted to use these ones that I got from, some of them are from Amazon, the other ones are from Walmart. A lot of people don't know how to work with bias tape, all right? So that's why I bought the one that is already folded, double fold, and yeah. But feel free to make your own if you know how to make them. So we're gonna open it up like this, and you're gonna notice this part of the fold right here. You need to open it, and that is what you're gonna place at the border right here, okay? Because this is gonna be your sewing. You're gonna sew through that fold in there. So place this part of the border against the border of your bag, and then you're gonna place a stitch on that fold in there, all right? Again, when you're going around, take it slow, because you don't want to sew this past the fold, because if you do it past the fold inside, you're not gonna have enough fabric to fold it back to the other side. So make sure, that's why I make sure that to let you know that do a 1/8 of an inch here, so that you can have plenty of space to sew it without this stitch showing, all right? So make sure that you keep on the fold. Take it slow. If you're new at this, guys, don't go fast, because I've been doing this for a long time and I have messed up a couple of projects, okay? So then also you're gonna leave about, I would say maybe an inch of excess, maybe 1.5 inches of excess right here, because I'm gonna show you how to do that part once we are done sewing this, okay? So you're gonna sew from the zipper, you're gonna go on top of the zipper. So now we are working with 4 layers of fabric, okay? The vinyl, the 2 layers of this, and then this. Go slow above the zipper. It's gonna be bumpy. It's not an issue if you go slow, okay? Let me see. So this is about 1.5 inches above. We're gonna trim it later on, okay? So you're gonna use the wonder clips again, and you're gonna place it at the border right here, all around. And I'm gonna start doing this, and I'm gonna see you at the end after I'm done placing this, all right? You're gonna open it, okay? Okay, guys, so we are here at the sewing machine. I'm gonna start sewing this from the top. We're gonna include the zipper, remember. We're gonna include the zipper. And remember, guys, we're going to follow this line on the double fold of the bias tape, okay? All the way, take it slow. Make sure that you are the right border. Don't go inside here, because you're gonna have to undo it, because it's not gonna reach all the way around. So go ahead and sew all the way in here. I'm gonna start the process, and I'm gonna see you at the end when I meet to the other side, okay? So let's get started. Take it slow in the beginning, because remember, this is a bumpy ride in here because of the zipper, okay? So I'm going slow, because remember, I have an extra layer of fabric in here. Okay, guys, so this part is done. I'm gonna move you to the working table to tell you how to fold this over, all right? Okay, guys, so now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna turn this over. We did it on this side, right? On this side. So now we're gonna move this over the border of the bag like this. We're gonna wrap it around, you see? And it should meet all the way on the other side. Okay? You're gonna go ahead and fold it like this, fold it like this, fold it like this. Okay? And it should meet all the way around. All the way around. And you wanna make sure that your stitching It's not gonna show above. If your stitching showed above the original one, that means that, or this one, that means that you sew to away from the folding. Okay, so it should look like this. Now, this part right here, I'm gonna trim it a little bit, not much. Just gonna trim it. I will say maybe down to an inch. Leave maybe like an inch above. I will say about this. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fold it. We're gonna open it here, and I hope you can see this shot. We're gonna hold it up here. Maybe if you can see it this way, it's better. We're gonna open it like this. We're gonna fold it on top of this part of the zipper, like that. Okay. So in other words, you're covering the stitching here also. You're gonna fold it like that. You're gonna keep it like this, hold like that with this fold, and you're gonna wrap it around like this, meeting this other part. This part is very challenging for me because this little corner keeps showing off, and you don't want this. Okay, you want this to be inside to keep it folded. Okay, so keep it folded, making sure that this corner doesn't show, and then you're gonna fold it on top. Okay, like that. This is the way you want it. Okay, and if you have something like this that you can push it in, you just push it in. Okay, you don't want that to show, and then you're gonna place a clip in there. Okay, so I'm gonna go and clip all the way around. Okay, use the wonder clips all the way around, all the way around. Okay, and you're gonna be stitching all the way around the bias tape, not inside. You're gonna leave again about 1/8 of an inch. You don't want to be in the middle because this is gonna be flapping all over the place. You wanna make sure that you're gonna sew at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, now this part in here, guys, is gonna be a little bit bumpy. Okay, so again, take it slow on this part. Believe me, I know because I've done a couple of these already, and this part is pretty thick because you have now another fold of fabric. Okay, so make sure that first of all that this is gonna meet, because this is way to here. Okay, make sure that everything is nice and aligned. That's perfect. Okay, but anywho, make sure that you take it slow in the beginning because it's gonna be bumpy because now you have the zipper, you have the 2 pieces of fabric, you have the binder, and now you have the bias tape that is already folded. Okay, so take it slow. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna complete this right here. You're gonna repeat the same thing that you did here. You're gonna repeat on this side. You're gonna fold it at the end, and then we're gonna go to the sewing machine. Okay, so meet you over there. So we are at the end of this project. Let's sew this part. Remember the bumpy part. I'm gonna have this in case I need it. I hope I don't, but if I need it, I'll use it. And I'm gonna show you how to use it if I need it. Let's start slow. And remember that you're gonna sew about 1/8 and an inch again. And we're going to start slow, okay? Let me just, all right. So I had to use this. It wasn't bumpy, right? Now we can go because we passed the most difficult part, which was the bumpy side. And if you notice, I did not go back and forth in the beginning, but I don't worry about it because, it's pretty much in there. So I will not worry about it if you cannot go back and forth just to reinforce the stitching. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna complete all the way around, and I'll see you at the end when I'm done, okay? Okay guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'll meet you at the working table because we are done with this beauty. I'll see you over there, guys. Okay guys, so we are here. This baby is done. Look at how beautiful, guys. I think I'm gonna leave it like that. I might not do a personalization here. I had to decide to get something nice to put in here. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna show you 2 clips of how I hoop the bag to a multi-needle embroidery machine and how do I hooped it on a single needle embroidery machine. I'll be back after the videos, all right? This is the way I hoop the bag. I'm using the Mighty Hoop 5x5 hoop, and I'm using tearaway stabilizers. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hoop the other one on my single needle embroidery machine. So I'm gonna go move you to the other machine, to the single needle, so that you can see how I hoop that one, okay? I am back here on the working table, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to hoop this item using a single needle embroidery machine. The first thing that I do is that I am going to use tearaway stabilizer, and I'm gonna float the item. I'm gonna place it on top, and I'm gonna use painter's tape to make sure that this is not going anywhere, all right? So if you notice, I place it facing this way. You can place it anywhere you want. Yeah, let me see what else. I'm going to be using my single needle embroidery machine, the Brother NQ1700E. And yes, you can do the same thing with a regular hoop, the one that came with your machine. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to hoop the tearaway stabilizer and you're going to float the item on top, okay? So I'm going to take you back to the machine. I'll see you over there. So we are here, guys. Right now, all I had to do is trace this. It's in position. It's facing the way I want it, this way. All right. I am not going to go on details on how to set up the machine because this is not a tutorial on how to use this embroidery machine. All I wanted to show you how to place it on your machine to do the embroidery design on this bag, okay? So all I'm gonna do now is center it and embroider. That's why I'm not including the screen on the video. I don't think you can even see it from there. Let me see. If I can get you a shot, you won't be able to see much because like I said, I'm not concentrating on how to use this embroidery machine. If you want to learn how to do it, I have videos that include the unboxing and other tutorials where I go with detail how to set up. And I am going to make sure the speed is in the correct speed. Yeah, it's 400 already. And let's go back. Okay. All right, so let's get started, guys. I'm gonna show you the beginning a little bit and then at the end when I'm done. And that way we don't have to be here watching this going at 400 for a long time because it's gonna take a little bit because we are doing it at 400 on the speed, all right? So guys, I'm gonna get started. I'm going to show you, I folded this part of the plastic here with tape so it doesn't hit here and shift this part. I just want to make sure that this is not gonna cause the loss of registration over here. So I fold it and I taped it over here to get it out of the way, all right? So now that you know how to hoop this item using a single needle embroidery machine, I'm gonna bring you right back when this is done. See you in a little bit, guys. And we are done. I am loving it. So guys, we are done with the project and this is the result. This is what we did together. This came out amazing. And yes, I decided to personalize it with the word blessed because we are blessed indeed. And yeah, I love the contrast of the white against the purple color. Amazing. I'm going to show you the other ones that I've done. This one is the one that I show you on the intro with my first one. And I name it Jenny's Travel Makeup Bag because my nickname is Jenny. And these are all for me, guys, because I'm going to be doing a couple of traveling in the near future. So I decided to make this all for me. This one right here was the one that you saw on the short video on the demonstration on how to hoop it for single needle embroidery machines. And it says, my techie stuff travel bag. I plan to put here all my earphones, earplugs, chargers, and stuff like that. Yeah. And this one right here was the one that I did, which I decided not to personalize it so that you can see that you don't have to have an embroidery machine to do this project. You can just use your sewing machine, all right? And I love this fabric. This was a piece of scrap fabric that I have for a long time. And believe it or not, this is my husband's favorite. He loved the combination of colors. And yeah, it looks very cute, all right? So guys, this is everything for now. I hope you enjoyed this project. And I'm going to start bringing things similar to this one in the near future. If you like this kind of content, please let me know down below so I know which way to head when it comes to bring you content. Thank you for spending this time with me. This is kind of a long tutorial, but I did two things, embroidery and sewing. So yeah, and I hope you enjoyed it. Guys, I will see you soon with new content. Until next time, bye, hasta luego. And don't forget to click the thumb up for me, okay? Bye, guys.